constitutional crisis. Joining me now is Congressman Adam Schiff, who led Tuesday's hearings. Mr. Schiff, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Good to be with you.
Let me start with what's coming first. We were going to have two more hearings this coming week. You've delayed 2 weeks. I know, can you give us a little bit more on what more has come in and on what specific areas has more information come in that you feel as if you need more time?
Well, the next couple of hearings will cover the run-up to January 6th, the marshaling of this mob that appeared on the mall that day and attacked the Capitol. And then the final hearing will cover what the president was doing and, more importantly, what he was not doing as we were being attacked.
In those hours, on January 6th itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, the president's flagrant dereliction of duty while the Capitol was being attacked. This will give us a little more time to get prepared for those two hearings. A lot of work, as you might imagine, goes into each and every one of these hearings, and we keep learning new information all the time that we want to incorporate. So this will give us a little more breathing space to do that.
You've spent a couple hours with the documentary filmmaker. You've now gotten all of his video information. Does it add any facts that you did not know?
It's hard for me to characterize because we have information from other sources that the public hasn't seen yet. But it certainly adds to the footage of that day, some new perspectives that we haven't had, at least captured on film. I don't want to get too far ahead. Part of what's made these hearings successful is their combination of what's already known and things that the public hasn't known yet. And most important, we do try to tie it all together and show the public where it all fits its pieces.
Look, if there's a search for a smoking gun here, it is to find evidence that Donald Trump knew he lost, but went about this anyway. Have you found specific evidence to know that he knew he lost and that this belief defense is one that is just not going to work?
I think we continue to see powerful evidence of that. And just this week, and every now and then, you see something that tells you in microcosm what it's all about. In the last hearing, the president saying to top Justice Department officials, just say it was corrupt and leave the rest to me and the Republicans. That's an acknowledgement by the president after making all these fruitless claims of fraud and being told, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. The president didn't care. What he wanted them to do was just say it was corrupt. And Jeffrey Clark, this unqualified environmental lawyer that he was going to put at the top of the Justice Department, drafted a letter to Georgia falsely claiming that the Justice Department believed there was sufficient fraud to overturn the election and Georgia should call its legislature back into session. The president understood that all of the Justice Department leadership thought that was completely bogus, and he was prepared to go along with it, except for the threat of mass resignation.
So that, by the way, that meeting, January 3rd, that 2 hours from the constitutional crisis, is it when that fails, should we then see the pressure campaign on Pence that basically begins 48 hours before January 6th? It intensifies. Does that no-go intensify this? Is that the connective tissue there the conclusion we should draw?
I think you see the pressure continue to build and build and build. These lines of effort that were failing were never completely walked away from. The pressure on the state legislators continued right up until the 6th. The effort to get these fake electors counted by the vice president, the pressure campaign against the vice president, all of that continued. But on the 6th, the last-ditch effort was to get that crowd to stop what was happening in the building. And we see then that January 6th was not a day in isolation. It was the culmination of several efforts, the violent culmination of an effort to overturn the election.
A couple things. This week, boy, the Department of Justice has certainly let the public know it was doing a lot more on January 6th than we'd seen in the past. I think there were subpoenas served on at least 9 people in 4 states. A search warrant was executed on the home of Jeffrey Clark. You've been critical in the past of the Justice Department. You feel as if there was maybe they were being a little passive. Do you still have that criticism, or do you look at their actions this week and does that reassure you a little bit?
It certainly seems that there's a greater sense of urgency than I've seen before. At the same time, I have yet to see any indication that the former president himself is under investigation. And I concur with what Judge Carter out in California said, that there's sufficient evidence to believe the former president violated multiple federal laws. And you can't hold anyone immune. You can't say there's a different standard, a different rule of law for former presidents, particularly when you took the position while they were in office that they couldn't be indicted.
This country's, I've characterized it as dangerously divided right now. An indictment of a former president, that could throw gasoline on this fire. Choosing not to hold him accountable could also throw gasoline on this fire. There are no good outcomes here. What's a worse outcome on that front? And do you understand why the Attorney General may be really struggling with this decision?
Well, I think it's a very difficult decision, but I don't think it's a difficult, that is, to prosecute. It's not a difficult decision to investigate when there's evidence before you. And I think the worst case scenario is not that Donald Trump runs and wins, but that he runs and loses and they overturn the election because there's no deterrent, because there's no effort to push back
what if you
and hold
prosecute
people
him and he
accountable.
gets off?
Well, that's always a risk. But the fact is, if you follow the evidence where it leads, if you believe that you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt, then you have a duty to prosecute. And the decision not to investigate or not to prosecute becomes a political decision that, well, this person is immune from the rule of law.
Congressman Adam Schiff, Democrat from California. So we got a 2-week break and then a couple more hearings. Thanks for coming on and sharing your